Hello everyone, I'm back, and today we are going to talk about weapons. What are weapons? These are these magical tools that makes your opponent's models disappear from the table. Wow, that sounds amazing! And you know what's even better? Knowing what is the optimal target for your weapons. Basically, there are two types of weapons. Either anti-infantry or anti-tank per monster. And there is a third one in my opinion, anti-elite. Let's check out the basics of these kind of weapons. Anti-infantry. Anti-infantry weapons usually makes lots of attacks, with relative low strength, low armor penetration and low damage. They are not good against tanks or heavily armored targets, but really great to kill a lot of guardsmen, thermagants, Eldari guardians and small things like them. Usually they can make a little damage on tanks, vehicles, monsters due to having lots of shots. However, that is not their ideal target. Okay, let's go to the next one. Anti-tank weaponry. Anti-tank or anti-monster weaponry is usually weapons that makes few attacks, but those attacks are relatively strong. Very often with great range, immersive strength, great armor penetration and really nice damage. These are the shots that are really count, because if they hit the target, probably they will wound them and much more likely kill them. However, they have few shots. So while a laser destroyer is great at killing a hive tyrant or taking down a land raider, it will only kill 2 guardsmen for example, so that's not much. And there is the last one, anti-elite. Well, it's probably not the correct term. These are weapons that has greater strength, better armor penetration and even better damage than the anti-infantry weapons. However, they are still not as great to deal really great damage to tanks or big monsters. So they are somewhere in between. However, these types of weapons are really great to kill terminators, bikers or light vehicles. So all in all, they are okay against anything and everything. However, they are not great against anything, except maybe against elite armies like Space Marines, Custodes and things like that. These weapons are probably the plasma weaponry, autocannons, Hellfrost cannons and beamer weapons for the Votan. Anti-infantry weapon examples: bolters, heavy bolters, shuriken pistols, shuriken rifles, lasguns. Anti-tank weapon examples: laser destroyer, quake cannon and bright lances. Okay, let's check out the weapon statistics. Weapons has a few kind of statistics. For example, range. In case of melee weapons, so swords, axes, things like that, the range is melee. So you have to be within half inch to fight, or to be within half inches to someone who is fighting. All in all, not a long reach, but a great fun for some armies. Other types of ranges. Usually they are the short range weapons. Everything under 24 inches. They are the medium range weaponry. From 24 inches to 48 inches. This range is not the greatest, however it's something. Okay, let's talk about the long range weaponry. Everything counts as a long range weapon, in my opinion, that has a longer range than 47 inches. So for example, las cannons, laser destroyers, oppressor cannons, exitus rifle. This range is great because you have a lot of options to shoot at things, while you can stay relatively safe because not many things can reach you. It's a good thing to take it into consideration. Okay, the weapons has other statistics. Attacks. This won't be a brain surgery. The more attacks you have, the better it is for you. The thing that you have to take into consideration, some weapons have random amount of attacks. D6 for example. These kind of weapons are less reliable. So take your pick, but don't be salty if it doesn't go your way. Okay, let's go to other statistics. Strength. Strength is a statistics that will show you how easily can your weapon wound the target. It goes, by the way, comparing your opponent's toughness against the strength of your weapon. If your opponent's toughness is really high, you will probably wound him on a 6+. This goes on if the toughness is twice as big or more than your strength. If the toughness is bigger than your strength, but not twice as much, then you are going to wound your target on a 5+. If your strength is equal to your target's toughness, then you are going to wound the target on a 4+. If you have bigger strength than the toughness of your opponent, then you are going to wound the target on a 3+. And if you have bigger strength and at least twice as much as the opponent's toughness, then you are going to wound the target on a 2+. But a wound roll of an unmodified 1 is always going to fail to wound the target, so keep that in mind. Usually, the weapons with the strength of 6 or under are considered to be anti-infantry weapons. Or they have some kind of a special rule, for example the Eldari Haywire rifles, but we are going to talk about these rules later. The weapon with the strength of 7 to 9 or 10 considered to be anti-elite or anti-light vehicle weaponry, because you are not going to wound the tougher targets. From strength 10 and above, we can talk about anti-tank weaponry. But usually, if you want to hunt for something big, that you want at least strength 12 weapons. For example, las cannon, oppressor cannon. Okay, that's it about their strength. Let's talk about armor penetration. Armor penetration. How well can you penetrate your opponent's armor? You have the 0 points of armor penetration. These weapons are not good, but in volume can deal some damage. Armor penetration 1. This is the amount for armor penetration that you want at least to have a real chance to deal with Space Marines or genuinely anything. Armor penetration of 2. This is great against elites and things. With armor penetration of 2, you have a reliably good chance to cause damage even to enemies with better armor. And you can go above and beyond to armor penetration 3, 4, 5. It just becomes even better. However, in most cases, you don't need more than armor penetration 5. Armor penetration won't do much against targets with invulnerable saves. So, if you know you are going to fight against something that has a good invulnerable save, for example invulnerable save of 4+ or 5+, then you want to have at least 1 or 2 points of armor penetration, and other than that you want to go for volume of attacks, because sooner or later your opponent will fail saving throws. Now we are going to the last part, damage. The basic amount of damage that you have is damage 1. This is okay, it's not good, it's not bad, it is what it is. Damage 2. This is nice, because you are mostly going to fight against Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, and some other opponents that has multi-wounds. So at least having a few weapons with damage 2 is always a safe bet. Damage 3. Damage 3 is nice, because if it goes through, it can take out serious chunks from vehicles. But the more important part, many of the really elite models has the wound characteristic of 3. So if one shot goes through, you kill a Terminator, or Aggressor, a Chosen. So damage 3 and above is really cool. And there is the big damage weapons. So the big numbies. For example, the Hellfrost Cannon with the flat damage of 5. It's good, it's reliable, however, the flyer that is on, it's not that great. Okay, other example. Laser Destroyer. This is a great weapon against tanks. It has 2 shots, a long range, 72, with the strength of 14, 4 points of armor penetration, and damage d6 plus 3. So if a shot goes through, it will be between damage 4 and damage 9, which is nice. Dealing great number of damage is good, but do not overkill. Don't use a damage 9 weapon on a Terminator when you can do it with an overloaded plasma, or macroplasma, rather. Okay, we talked about this one. We will talk about the rules of the weapons, but one quick thing to note. Against some armies, you are not going to shoot the optimal targets. You are going to shoot the threats. And that's okay. Target priority sometimes much more important than the efficiency of the shooting. Because if there is something that you have to kill, kill it. Don't shoot at the other targets, even if you could deal more damage to that target. Not always, but this is something that you have to take into consideration. Okay, let's talk about the weapon rules, or rather weapon abilities. They are many and we are going to go through them fast. Assault. Assault weapons are really great. I've already made a video on it. You can check out here. What does Assault gives you? Your unit is still eligible to shoot even after advance. This is not just great because you have a bigger threat range, so running and shooting. This is also great because many of the objectives that you have to make, for example deploy teleport homers or clans or scan signals, need you to be eligible to shoot. So this one gives you better threat range and the ability to achieve your objectives. Great. If you can, always take at least one assault weapon in the unit. Pistol. Pistol is a weapon that you can shoot even if you are within engagement range. However, if you shoot with your pistol, then you can shoot with any other ranged weapons, except if you are a monster or a vehicle. If you are shooting the pistol in engagement range, you have to target the unit that you are in engagement range with. Torrent weapons. For example, flamethrower. The torrent weapon is automatically hitting the target, so you don't have to make hit rolls. What does it mean? It's great against Eldari. No, Vulcan? We are not grilling Eldari children again. No. Go back to your room. Lethal hits is one of the best things that you can have on anti-infantry weapons. But it's great on any weapons, but on anti-infantry it's the best. Lethal hits means when you roll a critical hit roll, so usually an unmodified hit roll of 6, you are going to automatically wound the target. So if your guardsmen roll a critical hit, you just wounded that warlord titan. No questions asked, only the saving throw that the titan has to make. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Ignores cover. Surprisingly, this is going to ignore the benefits of cover. Let's go to the next one. Twin-linked. When a weapon is twin-linked, you are able to reroll the wound rolls, which means you can much more reliably wound the target. This is really great. Devastating wounds. When you make a critical wound roll, so usually an unmodified wound roll of 6, you made a devastating wound, which means no invulnerable save or saving throws can be made against. Goes through armor and invulnerable save. This is a really great combination with the twin-linked, because you can fish for 6s. Lance. Lance is a great ability, but you will only find this one on melee weapons. This ability means when the unit who has this weapon made the charge move, you can add one to the wound rolls in melee. Indirect fire. This is an interesting one. It's a great to have, but do not go overboard with it. Indirect fire means you are able to shoot at targets that you cannot see. However, if you do that, the target receives the benefit of cover and you have to substack one from your hit rolls. So you hit a little bit first and the target gets the benefit of cover. However, you can shoot it even if it is hiding. A useful tool, however, it's usually pricey on the models. So don't go overboard with it. But having 2 or maybe 3 units with this can be a game changer. Let's go to the next one. Blast. Blast is an interesting rule. It is mainly good to deal with hordes, big units with lots of models. Because if a weapon has this ability and you are targeting a unit, you get 1 extra shot for each 5 model in the unit. So if the unit has, for example, 25 models or more, you get 5 extra shots. Not too shabby, right? However, there is a little bit of drawback. If you have a blast weapon and you are in engagement range with any enemy models, you can still use the blast weapon, but you can't target the unit that you are in engagement range with. Let's go to the next one. Precision is another great tool to have. Basically it means if you are shooting at a unit that has an attached leader character in the unit, then you are able to allocate the attacks to that character. But one quick thing to note, you have to be eligible to shoot that unit. That's it. So the character has to be visible and you have to be able to attack that unit. Heavy weapon. Weapons with the heavy ability are not light. I mean not to be taken lightly, because if the unit that has the heavy weapon remains stationary, you can add one to your hit rolls. And that's nice. For example, your heavy intercessors didn't move, then you will be hitting the target on a 2+, not a 3+. Nice. More accuracy. Okay, let's go to the next one. Sustained hits. Weapons with the ability sustain hits. X. The X is usually replaced with a number. In this case, if you roll a critical hit, so unmodified hit roll of 6, then you get additional X hits. So if you have sustained hits too, then you roll a 6, you get total of 3 hits. 1 from your roll and 2 from the sustained hits too. Really great to deal with Horde. It's a great ability. Hazardous. Hazardous weapons are not safe, neither for your opponents nor for you. Usually these types of weapons are really powerful. However, the safety switch is off, which means after you shot with this type of weapon, you roll 1d6, and if you roll a 1, the model that used this weapon is destroyed, so dies. However, if the model was a character, a monster or a vehicle, then it just suffers 3 mortal wounds. It still hurts, but not that much. Let's go to the last 2. Extra attacks. This will be on melee weapon mostly. So when a weapon has this ability, this means after you chose the weapon and fought with it, you can fight with this weapon in addition. So more attacks. Basically, in case of, for example, the Gravis Captain. The Gravis Captain has 5 attacks with his Power Fist. And you can choose one other weapon to him, which will have extra attacks ability. Any of that 3, you can attack with the other weapon too. So all in all, more attacks. That is great. Okay, let's check on the last one. Anti X+. Sounds horrible, but basically imagine anti-vehicle 4+ or anti-psyker 2+. This means, for example, the anti-vehicle 4+. You are targeting a vehicle. You rolled your hit rolls. You hit the vehicle. After that you are making a wound roll. You will critically wound the target on a 4+. So basically you will wound the vehicle on a 4+, irrespective to any toughness, strength and other things. This is really great. Rule-wise it's simple, lore-wise too. These weapons are made to destroy their specific targets. For example, the Eldari Haywires are really great to mess up vehicles. And the other example, Anti-Psyker 2+, the Imperium has the Condemnor bolt stakes, so the bolter crossbow things. Those are made to deal with Psykers. The greatest weapon combinations probably Devastating Wounds Twin-linked or Devastating Wounds Anti-something. These are especially effective if you're targeting the optimal target for them. Okay, that's it for now. I hope you learned something new and I hope the sound quality wasn't terrible. Probably I stressed a little bit too much on this, but since the renovating goes upstairs and everywhere and things like that, I'm afraid that I can't provide you the quality that you used to. I don't know how much of the quality that is, but I don't want it to go even lower. Hopefully soon they will finish, and after that I can go back to the regular uploading and the regular or even better quality. Okay, that's it about the rambling. Thank you for watching and listening. If you like what I do, please consider liking, subscribing or both, or even hit the little bell to know when will I upload a new video. My schedule is changed a little bit, but I'm still trying to make 1 video a week, or in worst case, 1 video in every 2 weeks. I just really want this renovation to stop, and that's it. However, extra news. In last week, I finished 2nd place in a tournament in 4 rando and only got 2nd by points. However, it was great. I was using Vanguard Spearhead Space Marines, and if you're interested in the list, please let me know. I will put it in community tab or into comments. Okay, really that's it for now. I hope I see you in the next one. See ya.